1. So let's start with a little bit of context. I'm in my early 40s and have tried weed for the first time only a couple of years ago, by having a couple of drags. I did not feel anything then. Since then, I've tried it again only 4 more times, by again having only a few drags, with only once feeling some moderate effect, which was actually very nice because I laughed a lot. In general, I don't like using drugs myself because I'm afraid of losing control. But in the last few weeks, I've started to have some persistent health issues, which with a combination of other issues brought on an anxiety, panic attacks as well. So I've talked to my doctor and got prescribed some Xanax to deal with it. However, I was hesitant to use it more than absolutely necessary for fear of developing an addiction. So I've looked for some alternatives. And after doing some research, not well enough obviously, I've decided that medical marijuana from a dispensary could temporarily help me relax as well. I've got myself a hybrid capsule, CBD plus THC, with one capsule having a strength of a quarter of an average daily use, which I've misinterpreted as being just about what I need. Last weekend I had a friend over to help me with some little maintenance work around the house. Wife and kids are on vacation in Europe. And we've decided to end the day with a beer, cigar, and a capsule of weed to relax. My friend had his first. He uses weed almost regularly now, and he is happy with the effects. Nothing unusual happened to him for about 20 minutes, so he had another one. I've decided at that point that it is safe to try one as well. We've talked, drank and ate pizza for another 20 to 30 minutes, when suddenly I had a feeling like I'm being lifted off my chair. By the way, the capsule's weed variety is called Zero Gravity. I suppose under normal circumstances it would be interesting, maybe even funny, but to me it felt very similar to the feeling right before passing out. So I've thought I might be having another panic attack. I've tried to calm down, but the tripping was only starting. When the effects got worse, my friend and I decided to go walk it off. So we got out and started to walk. But instead of getting better, things got progressively worse, up to the point I've basically lost it. The thing is, while having a panic attack, you think like you might be dying, but mainly you're feeling like passing out. But this time, at one moment on our walk, I've suddenly just knew with absolute certainty that I'm going to die right now. Right here. My whole body, and especially chest and shoulders, felt like they were being crushed by some machine. I just knew that this is it, and I will never see my kids, wife, and family again. What my friend has seen was me walking like a madman back and forth and repeating that I'm dying or just about to die. So he offered to call an ambulance, and I've apparently agreed, even though I don't remember much else than the absolute horror I was experiencing. Then I remember being in an ambulance where nothing made sense. Somebody was asking me questions where some made sense, but mostly didn't. I've experienced one déjà vu after another. My friend and those ambulance guys were repeating sentences again and again. Or they were just saying words that meant nothing together. Or were simply saying derogatory things about me that were in my head only. Or were moving their lips, but I couldn't hear anything. Slowly I've started to realize that I'm tripping like hell, but those moments of sanity were short and rare. Because my blood pressure was high, the ambulance guys decided to take me to the hospital. There, I've started to develop some nice kind of paranoia. First, I've thought that my mind just broke, and this is how I'm going to live for the rest of my life. Tripping like this in a mental hospital. That led to another horrific moment, where I've started to think that it will be just better to kill myself right here, right now, and be done with it. that it will be easy since scalpels and drugs are everywhere around me, and nobody will be able to stop me. Fortunately, some nurse came with something and I've got distracted. They did some EKG on me, blood work, and gave me an IV. Also, I could not keep still. I had to walk up and down. That and curiously checking my watch and seeing the time is progressing kept me somehow sane. At least that's how it felt at the time. I remember being asked by a doctor to limit my pacing to a corner since I was making other people in the ER uncomfortable. No wonder. I would be scared of myself too if I could see myself through their eyes. It took approximately 5 to 6 hours before I started to calm down and was able to sit or lie down. After that, I was released. When I got home, hoping to just go to sleep, I took my jacket down to discover my right hand to be covered by blood, and basically blood just dripping down. When a nurse had pulled the IV off, either she did not patch me properly, or I was not pressing down as I was supposed to. So I was slowly bleeding from my arm. I just hope I did not ruin the car of the Uber guy that was giving us a lift home. It took me another 2 days to start to feel like myself again. Meantime, I felt like living in a fog, being occasionally scared that I'm gonna lose it again. To wrap it up, my friend googled this out on our way to the hospital, and found out we could, under right circumstances, cause a quality panic attack. The doctor, I guess, said the same. And the circumstances were just right. I wasn't used to weed, like somebody having a few sips of alcohol suddenly downs a few glasses. And by eating a capsule, getting the THC released to my bloodstream, all at the same time, as opposed to gradually smoking a joint and also having been stressed for some days at that point. So anybody thinking about trying weed to relax, be careful. Go very slow or this could happen to you too. And may already have to some of you. 2. Yesterday, during my second week at a new job, I had to take a shit. Okay, no big deal, I think. I've already used both stalls in the bathroom, no problem. I decide I'm gonna be that guy and use the bigger stall because no one at my work is handicapped and it's the furthest back. As I'm undoing my belt, I notice the water is kind of low in the bowl, but I merely attribute that to it being a water-saving toilet. After that, well, nature calls. I wrap up the paperwork and situate everything. I flush the toilet and start heading out of the stall, but something's not right. The toilet didn't make that glug 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 sound as it's blasting everything down the pipes. So I turn and the water, now a murky brownish yellow, is halfway up the bowl, with my floaters floating proudly like some Macy's Day Parade balloons. Shit. Fortunately, there was a plunger next to the toilet, and I grabbed it and started going at it as carefully as I could. After plunging for a moment and waiting, the water seemed to be subsiding back down. Now, at this point, someone else was now using the other stall and could hear everything going on, and I've already been in the bathroom for probably 10 to 15 minutes, so I decide that, with the bowl still over half full, that this poo is going down. And it's going down now. I flushed again. Water rushed into the bowl, climbing higher and higher. Shit, shit, shit. I darted down to the main water valve and started closing it as fast as I could. The water getting higher still. The knob kept turning, the water was still rising. And then it stopped. And the knob stopped turning. The water came to a rest, less than an inch from the edge. Phew. I wasn't out of the woods yet, though. I grabbed the plunger again and, even more carefully, started going at it. My efforts were met with splashes of poo water on the back of the toilet, on the rim of the bowl, and, of course, on the floor. And this is finally where that LPT comes in. I give one good thrust, and the water came flying out of the bowl. I tried to pull back, but it was too late. It got on the front of my left pants leg. I stood there for a moment, trying to assess the situation and decide my next move. I carefully examined the damage. No poo chunks, thankfully. But still, ew. At this point, I wasn't even worried about the toilet. I had accepted defeat and just left the plunger laying in the toilet. I unlocked the stall and opened the door as a co-worker was entering the bathroom with a tape gun and a handwritten note. Out of order, it said. He was the one in the stall next to me. Well, at least he knows how to handle the situation. He tells me not to worry, that this toilet has been having problems as of late. I thank him for helping me out and understanding. I wash my hands slowly, allowing him to tape up the note on the stall door and leave so that I can wipe my pants with some wet paper towels. After that, I walk out of the bathroom and over to tell my boss that I need to make an important call. And start calling my dad over and over, leaving 4 or 5 voicemails on his answering machine. No dice. Defeated. I slowly walk back to my work table and proceed working across from the secretary's daughter, wondering if anyone knows the extent of the hell in that bathroom, and trying to avoid eye contact with the material of my pants. By the end of the day, the guys are forced to have to use the girls' bathroom because the other toilet decided to take a shit too. Dad finally got back with me around noon, 4 hours later, to which I said not to worry about it at that point, since she didn't complain of a smell or anything, and it wasn't obvious that my pants had gotten wet. Life pro tip: always keep a spare set of plain clothes in your car. Shoes too. 3. My mom is on vacay, and I have the apartment to myself. Recently she told me that she told our 80-something neighbor that I have a drug problem. That really hurt. I like drugs, but it's not like I inject or anything. I like weed and psychedelics. For the past 4 years, I've more or less been a depressed weed smoker that has been trying to figure out life. You know how you sometimes read about people freaking out on acid and run around naked? Well, I just did that. I took 3 tabs of acid. 3 hours into my trip, I tried to calm down, meditate, and chill. I was listening to Drake's new album and eating ice cream. I felt like I could see behind my eyelids. It was red, and I could see behind my eyes. It was really interesting. I had a hard time focusing on the visuals, and I got a feeling something was wrong. On a side note, I am going to a psychiatrist, and I told her that I have had a thought about how I'm afraid of doing acid and spontaneously jumping out the window. Okay, back to the story. I have the window open. We live on the 2nd floor, and it's semi-high to fall down. You could easily die, hurt yourself really bad. As I have the window open, I think to myself, I need to break free. I hate my life. I want a reset button. The only thing I need to do is take life by the balls and jump. I can't get myself to do it. I understand what I'm contemplating is crazy. The next thing is the fuck up. I vaguely remember this. I just go outside. I am completely naked. I go down and outside the complex. Soon after realizing I don't have a key, I try to go back, but there is a neighbor who says to me, I don't live here. I am really confused at this point. I don't say I really do, I'm just dumbfounded that I'm being denied going back to my apartment. So I stroll further down the street, and I go in somebody's backyard. They are really old people, and they tell me to piss off. At this point I'm really confused, and my reality is really broken. I don't know what's real anymore. I go to another neighbor's house, and I jump on their car, and somebody tells me to get off. I jump a little more before I go to a new backyard. I look into the window and I see some people looking at me weird. The next thing I remember is that I'm talking to the police. I tell them I ate acid and clonazepam. I am shouting for my brother and mum. Everything is a blur. I am imagining I will respawn someplace soon. I just need to die. I am screaming and being hysterical. They handcuff me. I have 3 police officers on me. I'm on the ground. They try and get me to calm down, but I won't listen. I'm so scared. I just want to die. I want a fresh start. The police officers try to talk me out of going back to the station, but I won't listen. When I get in the jail cell, I know that I need to get out, and that if I'm a piece of paper, I will slide under the door. I put my hands above my head and lay flat on my belly. It does not work. Soon after this, I start to hallucinate an intense conversation with my family. I honestly believe I'm inside a game and I need to solve a puzzle to get out of jail. At this point, I think that everything that has happened up to this point is all part of a bigger meaning. I am Messias, and if I solve this puzzle, the world will not go under. I am never doing drugs again. 4. I'm a lonely bastard. So, obviously, I have a flashlight. A Terra Patrick one, if you must know. And you must. I purchased it in a moment of weakness during a month of trying to forgo masturbation. Big up lovehoney.com. It was a mistake, whatever. So anyway, one night I am in a mood, and I want to use the flashlight. Now, I am very careful with when and how I go about it because I live with family. My bedroom door is all messed up, it doesn't lock. And you can push it open with a pinky finger. My family is notorious for just barging in, and that's the last thing I want when I've got myself stuck in a tube of artificial lady garden. Now, there's 2 notable things about flashlights. 1, they're not always the most quiet of naughty things. And 2, you really need to warm them up in hot water for about 15 minutes before use. I mean, you can use it cold, but who wants to do that? Not me. I'm not Edward Cullen. So I sneak through the hallway to the bathroom, run the sink, put it in, lock the door behind me, and sneak out. I go back to the room and I start soundproofing. What I call sticking sheets under the door, and generally just setting the mood. I've got a choice selection of media upon my laptop. Ambient lighting, the works. I'm treating myself right tonight. 2 things real quick. Next to my desk is an ambience floor lamp and my airsoft replica AK-47. I had been moving things to and from my closet earlier, so I just placed it there for some reason. It's old and broken, and I only use it to scare off potential intruders. And maybe act like I'm Jason Bourne while listening to music. Okay, maybe just the Bourne thing. But that's not important right now. It's there, by my desk, standing upright. So I get all done setting up and head back to the bathroom. But first I turn my lamp off. A poor precaution, but I don't want my door accidentally being opened and someone seeing the pitiful self-sex haven that I've made myself tonight. Lights out till I get back. I get back, and I'm so ready. I'm impatient, so I forget the stupid lamp. I start up a video, turn on my little portable Bluetooth speaker to some R&B, get naked, lube up, and start at it. 2 minutes in, and I'm finding the atmosphere lacking. It's not quite right. The lamp. That's what's missing. I need to actually see the fuck tube I'm disappointing, with an arrhythmic hip gyration. To 112's Peaches and Cream. So mid-stroke, with this thing still hanging on to me, I attempt to get around the side of my desk to turn on my floor lamp. Should have just left that damn lamp off. As I'm skirting the edges of my desk, obviously not used to having a flashlight for a willy, I ram the end of it right into my desk just as I'm bending down to reach for the lamp. Pain? Pleasure? No time to decide which, as the motion has rocked the AK-47 out of place, which is now falling for me, as I am heading for the lamp. And I lean eye first right into the barrel. AK-47 barrel in my eyeball, iron sights in my eyebrow. I'm seeing stars. And I'm still naked with this thing attached to me. Peaches and cream,
I need it 'cause you know that I'm a fiend, getting freaky in my bed.
It's pitch black in this room, save for the glorious light being cast by the fine actress's puckered O-ring center screen. But I can already tell that I can't see out of my left eye. Also blood. There's a plentiful amount dripping down my eyebrow. I panic, but not enough to forget to turn the light on for whatever fucking reason. I promptly remove the airsoft gun from my eyeball and go to run to the bathroom, leaving everything else as it is. Yes, it's still attached to me. I open the door to see my sister has come home and is in her room directly across the hall with her door wide open. There she is, sitting on her bed with her MacBook. I don't know what she's seen. I'll never ask. But I don't even hesitate in running as fast as I can right past her room, through the hallway and into the bathroom, undoubtedly leaving the smell of blood and lube in the breeze behind me. I've got to the bathroom and immediately check the mirror. I've regained my vision, but my eye is incredibly inflamed. More importantly, though, there is a sizable piece of flesh missing from in between my eyes, like a mousie's mouthful-sized piece. Only now do I remember I still have Ms. Patrick's silicon likeness still desperately clinging to my MVP. I pull it off, throw it in the shower, and close the shower curtain, praying to whatever entity will listen that my sister does not plan on taking a shower tonight. I patch my eyebrow up and pull the torn pieces of what had been a contact lens from my eye, and decide that I need to go to the ER for stitches. I can't drive like this, and I'm definitely not asking my sister, so that leaves one option. My mother. I dash back to my room with the towel, take one look at the scene around, note that I need serious therapy, and dress to go wake my poor mother and ask her to drive me to the ER. Of course, she wants to know what happened. I tell her I banged my head on my old airsoft rifle as it was falling, while trying to turn on my lamp. She asks how the rifle fell. I tell her I banged my head on the desk. Both are equally true, even if she doesn't get the logistics of it. She says she'll take me, but she wants my sister to come along, because it needs to be a fucking family trip, of course. I relent and just want to get it over with. So a silent drive to the hospital and 2 hours of waiting, and the nurse comes to get me. She takes off the gauze and tells me that my wound has passed the window of opportunity for stitches, and that I should just use a butterfly strip. Then she uses some fancy-ass machine to check my retina, then tells me I can go. I wake up the next day, and thankfully, it has already started to scab. Healing quite a bit, actually. Some god must have taken pity on me for being so fucking weird. Hospital didn't know. Paid a bill of $500 for being told they couldn't do shit, and I was fine. That one night, my one special night, cost me $500. I will never be so thorough with my masturbatory sessions ever again. I wish I could say I'm just some stupid teenager, and thus absolve myself of some of the guilt of knowing a fake punani cost me $5,000. But I'm not. I'm a grown-ass man in his 20s. Please, learn from my mistakes. Don't ever get so lonely that you try to recreate romance with passion porn and a fake vagina. I now have a small scar to remind me of this wisdom forever. 5. Rewind my life to my sophomore year in high school, and to the year 2010. My best, Cody, and I had never experienced the wonders of weed and alcohol yet. One weekend, we decided that this needs to change, and we need to live a little more in the wild side. At that age, you feel like you know exactly what you're doing, even when you literally have not the slightest clue about anything, especially drugs and alcohol. We get our sketchy friend to roll us a fat joint while Cody and I sneak into my parents' liquor cabinet and acquire way too much alcohol for the two of us. Later that night, I bring the supplies to Cody's humble abode, in preparation for sneaking out of his bedroom window to go on a drunken adventure to smoke weed. I know, fantastic idea, right? Anyways, we get hammered in his room and stumble out the window and start our adventure across his neighborhood. We get about a half-mile down the road and decide that it would be hilarious to take a manhole cover off and place it in the middle of the road he lived on, because why not? So we did just that and left it there, thinking it was badass and hilarious. We continued on our drunken quest and went about our weed smoking and other hilarious activities, such as knocking on our nearby friend's window who happened to live close by. Mind you, it's like 2 a.m, so that's actually kind of funny because we scared the shit out of him and ran away. After running as far as we deemed necessary, we decided it was time to start drunkenly walking back home. Okay, remember the manhole we uncovered? Well, let's just say karma is a bitch. On the way back up the road he lives on, we're coming up on the manhole we uncovered. It's a dark road, with no streetlights, so it's hard to see that far ahead of you. And I'm hammered, so switching to Cody's point of view. You were walking right next to me, and then, boom, you were gone. My whole right foot went into the manhole, and my right shin hit that edge, and my face hit the stone surrounding the manhole, along with the rest of my upper body. No, I didn't fall all the way in, but my shin had a 2-inch gash from impact, and my lips and nose all bleeding. Surprisingly, I managed to make it back to the house and climbed in the window, and passed out on the air mattress without getting any help from parents because we were too scared of getting caught drinking. Woke up the next morning with my right sock all bloody, and my pillow all bloody, and a horrible hangover. To top it off, I had to go shopping for clothes with my parents when they picked me up that morning. For those who are wondering, we just told the parents we snuck out and I fell, and never mentioned the drinking and they bought it. Still a shitty morning, but was worth it because the story is great. Edit. Someone informed me it's actually a storm drain cover, not a manhole. Sorry for the confusion. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to 5 True Embarrassing Stories, Episode 6. Well, I think we learned some very, very valuable lessons here, folks. Don't mix your poisons, be careful with the drugs you're doing, and don't watch porn on a laptop. If you can, watch it on a large screen television, it's much better. Most laptops should include the facility to connect it via a VGA cable, or if it's a more modern device, an HDMI cable. Okay, right, with that wise advice, I think I'm going to leave you now because I'm doing the usual thing I have. I'm trying to record many videos over the course of an evening. Saturday's down now. I'm about to move on to, well, I did mention episode 100 of my 3 True Scary Stories, and that's going to be a bit of a mammoth task recording that, so I'm going to do that. Then I'll have a wee rest, and we shall, well, I say we shall, I'm doing the work. I'll move on to Monday's video after that, so that'll be episode 101. Okay, so, until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.